Hello friends, welcome back to TechSaver Global. Hope you guys doing well. Today we are going to discuss on Lambda function and it is a part of our AWS Solution Architect Associate series. So let's start with Lambda function. In this video we are going to discuss on few things. So our agenda will be introduction, characteristics of Lambda function, benefits, use cases and triggers. So let's start with the introduction. AWS Lambda is one of the computing service provided by the AWS which is event driven and serverless. When we talk about event driven, that means if certain event has been created or some event has been occurred, that will trigger one additional event which is defined on the AWS Lambda. It is stateless serverless system that help us run our background task in a most efficient manner possible. Definition of Lambda, if someone says what is the definition of Lambda, we can consider as Lambda belong to compute family but with serverless architecture. So two things comes into your mind when you say Lambda. One is compute and second one is serverless. Characteristics. Serverless architecture, you are not responsible for the infra. AWS automatically create the infra, depend on the application requirement, automatically scale up and scale down. Lambda, serverless, create the infra as per requirement and remove when no need. Lambda not expose all the details like IP address, hosted details, auto scaling, etc. When you create the Lambda function, automatically infrastructure has been created. When certain task has been created or running, that particular task use infrastructure to perform that particular task. When the function has been completed, when the event driven task has been completed, automatically that infrastructure has been destroyed. Benefits. Event driven auto scaling, pay as you go pricing, supported languages, Node.js, Python, Java, Ruby, Go, .NET Core and custom runtime. That means you can create your Lambda function in the given supported languages. For example, someone says I need some automation task on Java, then it's possible Ruby, Python, Node.js, .NET Core or any other custom runtime. Stateless, custom runtimes and versioning. These are the options or benefits of AWS Lambda function. What are the use cases? Real-time file processing, web application backend, IoT, schedule task and data processing, AWS Kinesis. These are the use cases where you can use your AWS Lambda function. Trigger, how you can trigger that particular functions. So in S3 you can provide Lambda can be triggered when objects created, updated and deleted. DynamoDB, Lambda respond to changes in DynamoDB table such as new record has been inserted, existing one modified. Amazon API gateway, Lambda can serve as a backend for the RESTful APIs or web services, executing the code in response to HTTP response. AWS CloudWatch events, when certain events has been generated in CloudWatch, then you can provide the function or Lambda function which will generated certain modification in your resources. So you can create custom rules in CloudWatch to trigger a Lambda function based on the various events such as AWS service event or schedule event or cron jobs. Custom event, you can define custom events to use them to trigger a Lambda function within your application. So these are the triggers in which we can use the lambda functions. Now it's come to demo part. So in demo I have used S3 and S3 is a service. So where in which I set up certain lambda function on the Python based application. So whenever I run that particular lambda function, it will automatically zip your folder and upload it to destination bucket with certain name of the file. Like in this example, I have created two buckets, with source bucket with text over global source bucket and destination with text over global destination bucket. Folder name pix IAM role. Here you need to define, or first you need to create one IAM role, which role must include the permissions, whatever the task that you want to perform. Here we need to upload the file on S3 bucket. So I need to create a role with AWS S3 access and AWS Lambda basic execution role. So when you create the IAM role, you need to select Lambda function service to create that particular IAM role. Once you create that particular role, you need to attach S3 full access, or you can just put upload rights. As per my requirement is simple, so I just provide the full access. You can customize over that. Okay, so let me navigate to AWS console. So first I'm going to providing the IAM role. For that I'm navigating to IAM console. My role name is lambda test role. Roles lambda test role. If I just open that particular role, I can see there are two permissions or policies attached to this particular role, S3 full and lambda execution. And I just see the service. So here you can see the trusted entities are the AWS service colon lambda. Okay. Now let me navigating to the lambda function and create the function. Author from the scratch. Let me put like upload zip. Okay. In runtime you can get this listed or supported version like .NET 8, Java 21, Node.js 20, Python, Ruby, etc. Okay, so here I have upload my lambda function with zip folder to new bucket. I'm just also sharing my public repository with the description. So how you need to modify? So I just copied in my Visual Studio Code. I have made some changes according to my requirement. So you need to change source bucket. So as per the presentation file, my source bucket is this. You need to change your folder. Source folder I have choose as a pix folder. Destination text over global destination bucket, where I just need create one additional folder called uploaded or anything that you want, and the file name that you want to create as a with the zip. So I put pix.zip. Another entry I just put as a this. So now let me decode this file. So first it will try to input this functions Boto3 OS and zip file, because we are using the Python, so it import the Python functions. Then it use S3 because we are using S3 services. Definition. So first it try to define the handlers. source bucket, source folder, target bucket, and target key. It will try to validate the temporary directory, then list the object in the source folder. First it try to find out the list folder. So using s3 functions, s3.list, it will try to find out the source bucket and source folder. Create a zip store to content, then it will try to zip the existing source folder and name as a test name.zip. With FileZip, you can just validate and then ensure the valid file name is there, and then try to download with the local directory, and that particular zip file it will download to the local path and then upload it to target directory. If all the things are done successfully, then it shows the return status code with the 200. Okay, so I just modified all the things with my Visual Studio Code. Let me copy this. Now I'm trying to create one file, x86. Okay, here when you choose the runtime, it shows the architecture x86 ARM based 64. So as I mentioned in early phase of the presentation, that AWS Lambda function will create the infrastructure when it generate the event, and as far as event has been completed, it will destroy your architecture. So that architecture will create under x86 64. Okay, to execute this particular role, we need certain permission. For that reason, we set up the IAM role. So I'm just choosing the existing IAM role, and my role name is Lambda test role. Okay, advanced options are there, but we don't need to be there. Let me create it. Okay, as far as I created, I just see this particular screen. When there is, let me edit again, there is some mistake while selecting the, instead of Node.js I just instead of Python I just selected Node.js. Let me just close it. Like upload zip. Okay, Python, change execution role, and I'm just selecting the existing role and Lambda test role. Create the function. So you might be surprised at how I can get that particular, whether it's Python based or Node.js. See, when I see the function file, it includes the extension of the file. So before that it was Node.js application. So MPY was MPJ was the extension. So I'm just open this. This particular Python based file is having the extension .py. Okay. So make sure that you have correct extension or runtime when you generate the Lambda function. Okay. So before I'm just saving it using Control S. So before I deploy, I'm just validating whether this particular destination and source having the content or not. So I'm opening the source bucket and destination bucket. Source bucket must, I just uploaded pics folder, because if you can see that there is some pics folder. Pics folder contains certain JPG files. Let's open the destination required uploaded directory, but there is no zip file. Okay, so now let me deploy it. Okay, before test you need to deploy it. Now I'm just running this with like test event and save it. Okay, here I can see the error message called task timeout. So by default in Lambda function there is only 3-second timeout, so you need to increase it. So where you need to just navigate to general setting. Under configuration there is tab called general configuration. You need to increase it, and I'm just sending 1 minute because I do have only limited limited files on the folder. So I expect that within 1 minute this particular time function has been generated. Again navigating to code, and let me close all this tab and let me test it. So it will running after 3 or 4 seconds or 5 seconds. So now here you can see the response has been 200 and body is the folder zip up and uploaded successfully. Now I'm just refresh it. Okay, so here you can see the pics.zip has been generated. Now let me change something in the functions. Let's say temp, and again paste it. Okay, sorry, I just forgot to deploy. And now let me test again. Okay, so here you can see 18.12 has been generated. Okay, now let me change the file name on this was taste pic. Okay, so this particular temp zip is for temp directory, and this particular zip file to upload the target key on the destination bucket. So let me save it and deploy it, the taste folder. Now let me refresh it. So there are two files. So here you can define within your time duration, like the current date and time, current particular the file name path. You can add that particular variable with the Python script. So as far as when trigger that particular task, it will generate additionally files. It will not override. And if you want to override, it will automatically just replace the existing file and create a new file with the same name. So this is a small function of example of the Lambda function. You can add more and more things because it's very vast subjects. So I just simply took a very small example from the Lambda function. Hope you guys find well with this particular video. If you like it, just like the video, and if you have any improvisation with my video, you can mention in the comment section. Thank you for watching this video.